Hi, it's Judy McKenzie here, and I'm here with my therapy cat. He's uh, he's been pretty excited tonight. He's been sitting on my shoulder most of the day, which hasn't made for the most comfortable day of work. However, now he's going to walk around the camera. He's being a little bit he's being a little bit of a bad boy today. His sister is not feeling very well and had to go to the vet today, so he could well be a little bit upset, but I've often thought he wanted to be an only cat. Oh, who knows? Who knows? We're just going to wait another minute or two while while some people come on the line. How has your week been? Have you done anything? Hey, Elaine! Welcome, you're the first one on. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and there's Joy. Hey, Joy, great to see your name and your little face. We are, and there's Gina. Okay, well, that's a party. All right, let's go. Hey, Gina. I opted to talk about happiness and sometimes the elusive nature of happiness, and I chose it on this day with tomorrow being Valentine's Day, and I just put a little thing on Facebook and a few other my social media platforms that don't let Valentine's marketing be a trigger, an emotional trigger for you. I've been seeing a lot on social media that those who are not in a relationship, that they often feel really at a loss during this time of year, and it makes them feel inadequate and all kinds of other stuff, and as you all well know, that I'm a widow, and but I am certainly not shy of love, that's for sure. And that comes from my personal happiness view. I have many people around me that love me deeply and demonstrate that in all kinds of wonderful ways. And Valentine's Day, I think, is also just as exciting to have great friends because they are so incredibly valuable. And grandkids, right, Joy? Grandkids, they make life so wonderful. And I happen to be lucky enough to have one of them. And and look at this, and I've got a cat kissing my ear. So I am totally blessed. I'm all good to go. So the happiness subject matter was chosen today because I think it is important to know what it is about happiness that sometimes leaves us scratching our heads. Sometimes it just gets away on us. Did you, but I'm, much of the stuff that we talk about in the mindfulness and everyday living chats are things that you know, but you need to be reminded. Because they're things I know, and I do the research, and it's like, yes, of course, okay, that's fantastic. But we have so much stuff in our heads that we have to have it brought forward so we can actually make use of it. And happiness is one of those things that everybody, they lust after. Everybody wants to be happy. All parents want their children to be happy. When a parent is asked, what do you want for your child? The vast majority say, I want them to be happy. Whatever that looks like, I want them to be happy. And when we say, what do we want for ourselves? We say, we want to be happy. Now, happiness is one of those things that it is an inside job. Nobody can do it for you. Some people can bring you some joy from time to time. Sorry, Joy, no pun intended. By doing something really special, or a moment will come to you, and The other day, my little grandson, who's 2.5, came up to me and just in a very quiet voice looked at me and said, "I love you." Was like, well, could my heart get any bigger than that? And I savored that moment for a very, very long time, because it was so powerful. And that's the essence of what we're going to talk about tonight, is recognizing when something really good happens, stop in that moment and savor it. Now, there's a reason for that. Our minds are hardwired to deal with stress. Rick Hansen, not the Uber athlete, but the psychologist, talks a great deal about our monkey brains are hardwired to deal with analyzing and spending time thinking about when something went wrong. You spend a lot of time thinking about it. And given that you're spending so much time thinking about that, you're rerouting your neurons to actually see that, to witness it all the time. So what you think about, that's, part of the concept, what you think about, you bring about. So true. And that may well be too many things to get at once in limited efforts. Not sure what that means. If you would like to explain that a little bit better, that would be fantastic. Anyway, we have so many activities that we focus on that our brain thinks is saving us from something catastrophic. We have not evolved long enough to realize that we can actually seek out joy and happiness. And that's the whole concept. Oh, I'd really like this little guy to be off my neck for a minute. That's not going to happen. Okay. That we are absolutely, we will be, pardon me, let me start again. The work in mindfulness is retraining your neural pathways to see positives, to see happiness, to see what's happening now. And that's the link between happiness and mindfulness. So hi Olga. So the most important part of the restructuring of your neural pathway is to look for positive things to happen. Hi, Dawn. And so that can be all kinds of little things. It can be, listening to the birds out in the backyard. I let the dog out in the backyard and I stood outside to clear out some cobwebs. And there were cardinals all over the place, singing away, doing their thing. And you can take a minute and just, that stays within your mind as there's these positive things happening. And the neural pathways will actually reroute. And so that you, over time, as you do this, and, you have to practice, you would become hardwired to actually see things more rationally, more patiently, more openly, because you aren't rushing to get away from a saber-toothed tiger, or you're not rushing to solve a world crisis. You're not doing any of those things. So I hope I haven't confused you on that. There was one comment I read and I was like, I'm not sure what that meant, and I lost my train of thought for a moment. I apologize. Hey, Dawn from Connecticut. Have we met? Did we meet at Tucson? Anyway, so Rick Hansen does some really, really interesting work on worry and fear. And, with the flip side of that, of course, being happiness. And I've been listening a lot to his I've been listening a lot to his podcasts, and just trying in preparation for tonight's session. So, can you turn experiences into rewiring your brain? Let me give you a little Buddha quote that will make this. Oh my goodness, this cat is very needy tonight. Will make it a little bit more sensical for you. Is that if you manage, you take care of the minutes. If you take care of the minutes in your life, the years will take care of themselves. I thought that was incredibly profound. In that, yes, I know you were here last week, Dawn. You were really supportive in terms of making comments. I appreciate it. Hi, Pat. I'm going to have to move my little book here because now my cat is not that over when he went behind the camera. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. You may want to write some of these down. And these are from Robert Holden again, and it's really, his point is to identify what makes you happy and go after more of that. All right, it's not complex, but not necessarily easy. So for the first one, I am at my happiest when. And think about, I am at my happiest when. The second question, I feel most content when. What is it that you do that makes you most content? I feel like I'm following my joy. Hi, Shannon. I feel like I'm following my joy when. Shannon, you just joined. We're just going through 5 questions to try to identify the what happiness is to us individually. The 4th question is, I feel most alive when. When do you feel most alive? And I enjoy myself the most when. So those are 5 powerful questions that are great for journaling. And you know how I feel about journaling. I've talked ad nauseum about that. But let me run through these again very quickly. I'm at my happiest when. I feel most content when. I feel like I am following my joy when. I feel most alive when. And I enjoy myself the most when. And what I'll do with these questions, I will post them on the Mindfulness for Everyday Living group on that site. So the idea is that we are not hardwired or trained to talk about or to think about enjoying, analyzing, marinating, and thinking about when things go really well. We'll often brush those off with hardly any thought. But when something goes really wrong, or something goes even a bit wrong, we will analyze it, we figure it out, we work on how not to do that again. And we are spending so much time thinking about what not to do and how to best stay out of issues that we forget to think about how do we enjoy? What did we do that made us feel so fantastic? And let's do more of that. You don't have to do it all the time. Like the first sip of coffee for me in the morning is heaven. And I know that. And when I get up in the morning, I I look forward to that first sip of coffee. The whole cup is good, but that first sip is beyond fantastic. And hi, Bev. And right, right, Elaine, it's so true. Whatever it is, like so you may have we actually have a lot of things in our day that please us a great deal, but we aren't focusing on acknowledging them, um, sitting in them for a little while, basking a wee bit, enjoying that. We get right back onto stuff, and it's good work to look at those kinds of wonderful little things. Um, so that was one of the series of questions that I thought were really significant. Hi, Ruth. Um, Thanks, Dawn. That I think are really important to remember at all times. That awareness of positive and happiness and joy. Don't slough it off. It is very powerful because you are needing to ingest those visuals, those, the auditory, the olfactory, touch, everything. Absorb it, and it will calm you. You have a problem with your ears? It'll calm you down. It will get your body into that lovely state of relaxation, and your whole body will focus in on that. All right, so let me just have a little look at here. Yeah, we have to overcome our brain's strong desire for negativity. Yeah, someone is very happy sitting here. You're right, Elaine. He is happiest. I try to knit, and he's like in my face. I was away for 10 days, and I am paying dearly for that. So, so if you stay with the positive moment for longer than a moment, you are actually rewiring your neurons. So think about that. So if you start to feel a little plastic burning, whoa, okay. That's That's the neurons. That's the neurons doing their thing. All right. So as a practice, it's not a bad idea from time to time to think about something or someone you love or you really care for or you admire. I have a woman who I work with. Her name is Eugenia. And I was speaking about her with my son and daughter-in-law tonight. And she is a brilliant woman with a generosity of spirit and heart that is amazing. And I find her to be so energizing to think about because she's in her late 70s. And I can't keep up with her. There's no way. She perfects everything she touches, and she has just this brain that doesn't stop. And you watch her walk, if you see her from the background, you think it's a 16-year-old walking. So she keeps me very young, and I think a lot about her. And that brings a real happy spot to me. And I'm not saying anything I haven't said to her, but I know we all have people in our lives that make us deeply happy. Think about them and take time to think about, those questions that I posed a bit earlier in terms of these people. What do they bring to you? that make you feel so joyful and so happy. If you could only have a little bit of the happiness that this little dude here has, we'd be all in good shape, all in good shape. So, so pardon me. So take control of your brain's Stone Age biases and start to transition your brain's natural willingness to assess and evaluate and marinate. I love that word. In negativity, flip that and take a look at the things that make you so happy. They can be small, they can be big. Then now I've got I've got one other little bit of notes. Last week I kept you guys on way too long. I'm sorry. I got on a roll. I don't know what I was thinking. I missed you from the week before, so I kind of had to do 2 weeks in one. But I like to keep these about 20 minutes, and you know, that's a good period of time. So reclaiming happiness. Here is, you know how much I like lists, don't you? This list is from a woman by the name of Heather Edwards, and she writes for a lot of mindfulness magazines and articles and stuff like that. And I just really liked the approach that, oh, thank you, Dawn, very kind. I really like the approach that she's taken in terms of things to think about. You know, as you know, I'm a fantastic journaler. Well, because I do it all the time. I don't know, you know, it's not important as to how good it is or not, but it works for me. It releases a lot of stuff for me that is best not sitting on my other shoulder since this one's busy. Anyway, she came up with 5 different ideas on how to reclaim your happiness. So here we go. Here we go. Are you ready? Honor your body. Treat it like the temple that it is. And that does mean having mani-pedis. I know it does. I know it does. And, but, you know, there's, of course, the more practical part is, you know, is treating it respectfully and giving it the nutrition it needs and the medical care it needs and all those kinds of things. But respect your body, honor your body, because without it, you ain't going anywhere. Number 2 is surround yourself with people who make you feel good. And it's not because they're blowing smoke up your hoo-ha. It's because they encourage you to be who you are. They respect you for who you are. They are willing to sometimes deliver a tough message to you because they care for who you are. And, you know, being around people who love you and care for you is worth its weight in gold. Well, you know how I feel about that. I have a posse of fantastic gal pals that, you know, I just wouldn't have made it through so many things that I've made it through without their love and support. The third thing is focus on gratitude. Focus on gratitude. What are you grateful for? Again, it's like happiness. Sometimes it's the small things. And, you know, I had to take one of my kitties to the vet today. And I didn't sleep very well last night. It's a terrible when a mindset coach doesn't manage your mind particularly well. But I was pretty worried. It's an older kitty. And I knew that worrying about it wasn't going to change what was going to happen. And so I was able to get some sleep. But what I did when I got to the vet, and I just immediately liked this was a brand new vet, liked her, felt comfortable, and I knew that my kitty was in good hands, and I felt gratitude for that. I truly did feel gratitude. And that took, my body relaxed completely. And it was, you know, meeting the vet and knowing that. And knowing how you think impacts how you feel. So if you are focusing in on negative stuff, you're going to feel physically pretty poopy. Number 4, get out in nature. Listen to those cardinals singing, all the little birds flitting around. Now, we've had a lot of snow in and around the Toronto area recently, and I know the eastern seaboard. Connecticut must have got quite a bit too. That the whole eastern seaboard is kind of locked in from the U.S. right up to Canada. I went to the mailbox today to get the mail, and it was so sunny. It was cold, but it was so sunny and quiet because it was all this beautiful white snow, and I was grateful. Not that my ears were cold, but I was very grateful for how magnificent those little sparkling diamonds in the snow were. It was wonderful. And then finally, Gina says 83 centimeters where her folks are in, your folks are in Cape Breton, right, Gina? Anyway, the final one is mindfulness equals heartfulness. Heart and mind in Chinese are one thing. They have one word, Xin, X-I-N. And if you are mindful, you will then be heartful. And next week, so in this week we talked about you know, the search for happiness. You know, sometimes it comes and whacks us in the head and we don't, without us even thinking about it. Something's caught us funny, or somebody surprised us with something and we're happy. But happiness is something that you work at all the time, and then it becomes second nature. And once your system is in a happy state, it comes to you. It boomerangs back. What goes around comes around. You know, it's karma. It's all of those kinds of things. I know that sounds really goofy, but it is so true. And I do believe that the majority of you folks that are on this call already get that. But next week, we are going to talk about healing unhappiness, because there is a lot of that out there. And it's time we had a little chat about how do you actually heal that. Is there anything that you would like to ask me before we say goodnight? Or is there any, you know, I really appreciate your comments. And one of the things that I'm really working on doing is getting the mindfulness in everyday life private group built up. I understand that once you get it over 100 participants, you start to get a whole different level of involvement with the community. And that's really what I'm looking for. I've been so fortunate to have great communities and groups I've been part of. And I really think the whole mindfulness movement, and it is a movement, you know, we're seeing a lot of, you know, the mindfulness concepts and the demonstration of how to behave in a mindful way in very chaotic times. It is a movement because we really need a little bit of peace of mind. And the only way we're going to get that is by creating it inside. So that's all I got to say. Ratty here is not saying much. He's just snuggling. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day, however you choose to celebrate it. I think I'm going to go get my little boy a book, because that makes him happy. All right, so I shall chat with you next Monday night. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. And please forward, if you've got any value out of this, out of these sessions, please forward the links to people, and let's get our group a little bit bigger. And I will talk to you next Monday, and we'll talk about healing unhappiness. So, from lovely Thornhill, Wiley and I say goodbye. Do you have to say goodbye? See you goodbye. Yeah, see you Wednesday, Gina. Talk to you soon. Bye.